gamers, Matt Lemke here with 3 Gamer Goggles, and we are at Adepticon 2016 at the Osprey Publishing booth. We're going to talk about Frostgrave. With Joseph McCullough. He is the, I'm going to say, the brains behind this game. Since, you know, his name's right there, big, bold. So when did you get the idea for this game?
It actually relates back to a conversation between me and the Osprey Games editor. And we were just having a talk about what's out there, and I was just kind of saying, there's no game that does exactly what I want to do. And he just said, well, why don't you go write one then? He said, if it's good enough, I'll publish it. So
apparently it was good enough.
Yeah, apparently it was.
And it's gotten good feedback. It came out last spring, right?
It came out in July last year.
Oh, was it that late? I knew about it earlier.
Yeah, there was a Kickstarter a few months before that.
Yeah. So. And since then, it's got minis, all kind of dedicated to itself. 2 more books, and a short science fiction, right?
There's one print expansion for it out now. There's 2 more coming later this year. Yeah, book of fiction. There's a couple of little e-books as well.
And what would you say sets your game apart?
That's a tough one. One of the things is it's completely miniatures agnostic. I mean, we have specific miniatures for it. It encourages you to use whatever you want. And I know in theory you can do that with any game, but you know, for some reason that's caught on with these people. They just like the freedom of it, I think. And it's also a very campaign-driven game. It's almost more like Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I would say campaign, crew-driven, kind of grow your society.
Yeah, and it's very kind of, it encourages narrative. You know, it's the kind of game that makes you want to tell a story as you play. This is my guys, and this is what happens to them.
So you've got 2 more books planned. What are you doing beyond that? Are there plans for that yet, or do you have ideas?
Absolutely. There's 2 more books this year. Early next year, there is going to be a collection of all the ebooks bound together. So for people who don't like PDFs or whatever, those will be in print all together.
Oh,
one big
cool.
collection. And then there are plans beyond that. I have been commissioned to do additional stuff, but I'm not allowed to talk about it yet. So
you did not hear that here.
Osprey gets mad at me, but there's definitely more coming.
Those are not the words you are looking for. So, gosh, I really don't know where else to go. It's I really don't know where to go with it, because I just started reading the book. I've got friends that have been telling me about it for about a month and a half. I know that the crew, I'm going to call it a crew, development system is a little bit unique because of the way you structure it and your spells into play. So what would you say is what's your favorite spell in the book? Yeah, I'm not the typical interviewer who's like, tell me about all this stuff, what's broken about your game. I want to know more about you.
There's a spell I really like called Transpose, which basically allows you to just switch 2 figures on the board. So it's...
Any 2 figures or your figures?
Well, basically, if it's your 2 figures, it just happens. If it's anybody else, they get to try to resist it.
Okay, that's fair.
So there's just a lot of tactical uses for it. I think it's actually underemployed, but you know, you can take your Warhound, run him across the board, and then right before he gets into combat, switch him with something much bigger and scarier that's really slow. You know, so they think they're about to be attacked by a dog, instead they get this huge constraint in their face. So.
For people who do have the base game, not Rise of the Lich Lord, Thaw, yeah, close enough. Thaw of the Lich Lord. What does Thaw of the Lich Lord add? To what elements does it?
So Thaw of the Lich Lord, the first half of it is 10 scenarios that together kind of tell the story of this period in Frostgrave about this Lich Lord rising up and kind of trying to take things over, and the players can kind of go through that. They interact with him. They can either be kind of fighting against him because they're good, or just kind of randomly taking out his minions and taking their stuff. But it kind of moves on, and you see this development of him and his power until you have this giant showdown at the end. So it kind of really shows you how you can use the game to form a narrative and tell the story. There's also new monsters, a few new spells, lots of extra treasure, some more stuff as well.
So how much room is there for the players to kind of create their own storyline within your game?
huge, huge. I mean,
Are there guides for it yet, or
no. I mean, one of the things that I did is there's really not very much fluff in the book. Yeah, there's kind of a introductory page. There's little bits throughout, but most of it's left pretty kind of murky. You know, you get a lot of the feel of it through the artwork, but in terms of what exactly the city looks like, what exactly your minions look like, it's totally left up to the players. I want people to be free to use the minis they want, to use the terrain they want, to build it the way they want, and to tell the stories that they want.
Now, what would you say the best part of the game is? This is always good.
I think the part I'm most proud of is the combat system, because I think when I set it out to do it, I knew what I wanted to do was, for any fight, I wanted both players to roll a die, because I think that keeps both players involved. But I only wanted them to roll one die. And so, after a lot of testing and math and such, I came up with a system where you roll once, each player rolls once, that determines who wins the combat and how much damage is taken by the loser.
So combat's very streamlined.
So it's very fast, and a few people have said the game plays more like a shootout than it does kind of a classic fantasy.
Certainly with one die roll.
I mean, it is
done.
Yeah, but it plays very fast, and that way you can get a couple of games in a night, maybe even 3 games. Since it's got kind of a strong campaign growth, I think people really like that because you get to see your guy will actually develop in one sitting.
Right. Now, what would you want to add to the interview to give to the fans?
Wow. Well, first,
no
just
idea.
a huge thank you. It's been amazing. I guess when you write a game, when I wrote this game, I had hopes that some people would like it, that there would be a group that did like playing it and talk about it online, and actually it's just been huge. It's, there's a Facebook group that has over 4,000 people in it now. There's a dedicated forum on Let Adventure. There's so much out there now that I can't actually follow it. For a while, I try to be involved and I try to talk to people, and I'm going to continue doing that, but it's reached a point where I can't actually follow it.
And have a real life.
Well, writing it already got rid of a lot of that, so.
Fair. That's good though. I mean, that's really a lot of growth. You had no idea that was going to happen, did you?
Really, none at all. None at all. I mean, you kind of hope for it, but you don't really expect it to happen that way. But yeah, it's just kind of exploded in a way that I never foresaw, I never expected. So it's been wonderful.
That's awesome. Well, obviously it's been wonderful. I mean, it's probably 30% of the booth here at Osprey.
Yep.
So it's definitely clear that it's a good game and there's a lot of popularity to it. I look forward to it. Are you guys going to try and, I don't want to call it a tournament scene, but like maybe do campaign scenarios for the whole show eventually in the future?
I mean, one thing I will say, it's really not a tournament game. It's just, it wasn't designed that way. It's not part of my thought process as a writer. But there have been a lot of people who do run, kind of campaign days where it's more about kind of telling a story and playing it through. And more just about let's come together to have fun to play as opposed to let's determine who wins. And there's been several of those that I've been a part of in England. I think it's a growing thing, and we're going to try to support that. As Osprey's going to try to support that as a company soon. It's not something that's going to go up.
I'd kind of like to see it at Gen Con where like on Friday you play through these scenarios, and Saturday you can play through these.
Yeah.
And if I understand the game correctly, you can kind of leapfrog through them and you grow your clan. you grow your clan as the game progresses.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I guess you can have some kind of master champion or whatever based off of the storyline, or I don't know, whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say anymore.
Well, I mean, we did one in the UK with Board Games Illustrated magazine. They ran a day, and what it was everybody played 3 games of it, and at the end of each game, depending on how you did in the game, you were given clues, and all of those clues were kind of bits and pieces of a puzzle, which was to kind of figure out the formula for a specific potion. The first one who figured out that formula won the thing. But it was,
did they win a potion?
There was plenty of drinking anyway, but But to do something like that, that's more about telling a story and kind of, it's not I win, you lose. It's what am I trying to accomplish? Because
Everybody wins.
yeah, and even in a specific game, there's more than one way to kind of win. You're going after treasure, but you're also going after experience, more magical knowledge. So you can grow in different ways. I've got lots of gold, so I'll hire better thugs, or I've got lots of spells and I'm better at those spells. There's lots of freedom to kind of grow your band in the way you want it.
Right.
Anything else you want to add?
Yeah.
I think that's enough. That's probably more than you want to hear from me. So.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
It's good to be
a pleasure.
Yep.
And see you guys soon.
Thank you.